I don't want to hurt you. I'm getting anxious. And hey, can I give this person your number? Well, yes, you can. So let's go back in my history of alcohol and when it all started. Basically, my story is I always sucked. I was in one of the most famous car chases in the country. Doesn't end well unless it ends. They never believe me. I would never drop the ball. I know I'm just report the fucking obvious. With the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era about to just go. Yes, here we are. Welcome to the Outlaw Apostle Show. I am your host, Troy Neff, and with me in our home studio, we got Chase over there in the corner.
Hello. How you doing today, Troy?
I'm doing good, brother. I am doing good. I had my the first physical therapy appointment I had earlier in the week was just more of an evaluation.
Gotcha. Okay.
By the physical therapist. Yeah. He had me do one exercise so that he could let me go home with one thing I could do because he knew I would be doing something.
He's squatting.
And his assistant today, I was making her nervous because she'd tell me to do 2 sets of 10 or something, and she'd walk off, and I'd do 3 sets of 10. I don't want to hurt you. I'm getting anxious. She was a cute young girl. Like, it was funny how that, she was stressed. I know what to tell you. Yeah, no, don't be stressed. The old man's got it. I got it.
He knows what he's doing.
I know what I'm doing, but I got some stuff today, and we did some work and stuff that I can pretty much do here or do at the gym and do lightly and keep improving. And absolutely, the peptides I'm using that I've shared, the BPC 157, the TB 500, absolutely 100% working. I won't bullshit anybody, and I can show you message after message. I probably get 1 to 3 messages a day now, specifically about the BPC 157 from clients that are having success with it and keeping me updated, and they're sharing it with other people, you know, because when something really works like that, especially if you'd struggled with an injury before and you finally found something that works, you want to share that, man.
Yeah,
hey,
you want to help other people.
You want to help other people, and they are. And hey, can I give this person your number? Well, yes, you can.
Hell yeah, you can.
Yes, you can. I love it. I just love it. Well, we've been talking about this for quite a while now. I've shared on my social media for years about being a recovering alcoholic and addict. And there was probably some time when I really didn't add the addict part and just said alcoholic. But the truth is, addiction doesn't work like that. And my views may differ from some other people's views, and that's okay. Because my view is if you're an addict of one, you're really an addict of all. And yes, we may all, at least in my case, you know, the alcohol was the dominant one, but I did some other shit too. Let's just call it out, you know?
Fun.
And I never really thought of, and I'm not saying it doesn't have any positive uses or good uses, but I never thought before that, you know, weed was a gateway drug. Really. I didn't believe that. For me, it is. And I'll explain how that plays into my story. So we're going to go back. I'm going to go back in my history. Many people have wanted to know what my story is. And I've been sober for 15 and a half years now. It'll be January 18th. And in fact, I just got a message from my sponsor back in Toledo today. He goes, you still want to be on the list for Monday Night Men's? Fuck yeah, I do. That's my group for life. And if I'm back in Toledo and I'm there on a Monday, I'm gonna drop in because that was played a huge role. Well, actually, it was Thursday Night Men's, and then I changed to Monday Night Men's. But it was a men's only group because why? Because we know that Troy likes to swear. And they really don't like you swearing in meetings where there's women or maybe people who are friends or family of alcoholics that aren't alcoholics. It's more of an open meeting or open type meeting.
Okay.
And even in the men's meeting, they would say, nobody will be offended by the lack of, use of swear words. And I'd be like, fuck that. I'm allowed to, I can, and I will, because it just lets me be me. That's all it is. It's just me being me. It's not me trying to get a reaction or anything when I do that. It's just how I like to express myself, and we're just going with that. So let's go back in my history of alcohol and when it all started, and it really started very young. It started, early teen years. I would say probably around junior high is when I remember, it wasn't unusual in a family like ours, lower middle class, blue collar, where a parent would give you a sip here and there. You want a sip of what dad's drinking, right? Yeah. And you just wanted what are they doing? You're just watching the adults get stupid. And my dad, his 30th birthday party, I remember this as a kid. There was a party at our house, and my dad got a little too drunk, and I don't know the whole story anymore or remember all the story, but I do know that he fucked up his knee, bad. Yeah. He had to have surgery. And back then they didn't do arthroscopic surgery. They made a big half-moon cut and filleted you and laid that motherfucker open. That's what he had, okay? And it was all related to alcohol. And I would never say my dad was an alcoholic. I don't believe that he was. Did my dad ever drink and get drunk? Absolutely. But he was one of those lovey to be, oh my, I love you, my son. Give me a hug. He was one of those when he got too intoxicated. I never saw my mom intoxicated. And I from her talking about it, I'm just sharing my family history. From my mom, I think maybe she said she got drunk once and she wasn't really drunk. She drank too much and got sick, more kind of drunk, more than being out of it or out of sorts or not being able to have any control or anything like that. So two completely opposite. I mean, my mom rarely drank, and if she did drink, it was one or two. That's what it was. And she could stop bam, like that, man. It was not a fucking issue, man.
If my dad was drinking, that was pretty much the only time she would take a sip of a beer.
But my dad was a typical beer drinker. He didn't drink every night, but if my parents and my grandfather and his wife, my grandmother at the time, if they got together to play cards, which they would often do, they would drink while they're playing euchre. Yeah. Just typical shit. My dad would stop at the bar. He worked early, 7 to 4 kind of deal, or 7:30 to 4, something like that. Yeah. And, he might stop at the town, like I said, really small town I grew up in, Genoa, Ohio, 2,300 people. He'd stop at the bar and have a drink before coming home. Yeah. That very, very typical. Yeah.
It was a pretty common thing.
Pretty common. Well, my dad had a bar that he built in the basement. We had an unfinished basement. Okay. But it was usable. It wasn't just for storage. Yeah. It was for a little while, but it was, you had room to have gatherings and people over. Yeah. And he even had a sign that said Jerry and Sharon's Bar. He had a mirror that had that painted on there, that kind of stuff. And I don't remember when or what prompted me maybe to get into the alcohol, but I did. Okay. Maybe here and there. What I really remember most in junior high is this. Me and one of my two best friends, my best friend was Scott Smith and Choppers Lee. Choppers was a year younger than me. Scott was same age. Okay. And Choppers lived closer to me. And we were so close, we'd walk into each other's houses without knocking, man. You just walk in, you know what I mean? And no parents would be surprised. Nobody it's just how it was, thing, man. And so, those little circular things under the cabinet? What do they call those? You know what I mean?
Under the cabinet?
Yeah, in your kitchen, under your sink in a little corner.
The dish.
What do they call them? I can't remember. Somebody's yelling at now
Garbage
at the
disposal?
video. No, it's not a disposal. Like it's a little. It has like
Like
you could put stuff on it and you can spin it around.
I don't have one of those.
No, but some people do. We don't
I
have
don't
one
know
here
what
now.
that is,
Anyways, it doesn't matter. My friend Chopper's, his parents, that's where they had their alcohol. In their kitchen was
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a liquor organizer.
Kind of.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know, but you could put anything. You could put spices on it.
Yeah, spices
whatever.
is what you regularly put in there.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And stupid not to remember what you call that. Jesus, maybe we should ask Biden. And, and anyways, so I remember one more, because we would walk to junior high together. I was in 8th grade. He was in 7th grade. Our junior high had two grades in it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was winter. I do know that it was winter. And we got drunk before school. Like, we were drunk.
Like wasted
We
drunk.
drank. And it's like other kids knew when we were in there. They could tell because they could smell when we were walking up on them. I had a cousin who was a teacher who knew I was drunk. He didn't even report me. Like, it's so stupid. I remember girls giving me gum for my breath, but we got drunk.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the first time I got drunk or not, but we were
memory.
drunk. But that's one of my first recollections of being
Do you
drunk.
remember what you were drinking back there? Just beer? Or
Oh,
was it,
fuck
was-
no, dude.
It was
No.
like liquor?
No, yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
It was,
Pretty strong stuff.
I'm trying to think. It was probably Kessler's
Okay.
in Coke. That was a big one for my dad, too. My dad liked Kessler's. But
Yeah.
it was alcohol. It was not beer.
Yeah.
I drank beer, but I was never a big fan of beer.
Gotcha.
And the only time I actually enjoyed beer is if that shit was ice motherfucking cold. You couldn't have beer too cold. Like, just not frozen.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I
Just
like
right
it
before it
cold.
gets chunky.
Well, yeah, no chunky, but cold.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Because it don't taste, I don't get, like, I
It's a
just don't
different taste.
believe it just doesn't taste good. Alcohol tasted good. Or I just didn't care. One of the two.
One of the two.
And then, so I remember that in junior high. And then after that, I remember a Christmas party. And I'm probably thinking this is my sophomore year.
Okay.
Because, well, there was 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So my freshman year, maybe it was my freshman year. I just remember seeing a picture of me, and I looked like shit at Christmas time, okay? Because my face was all sunk in because I was probably close to 130 pounds.
Okay.
I could wrestle. 119 was good for me, and I could hold that weight and not struggle and not be weak. And I could beat the senior in that weight class. Now I'm just going on my old rant and digging up bones.
We
because
got
I'm pissed,
plenty
you know
of
what
time.
I mean?
We got plenty of time.
All right. It just used to piss me off, shit like that. Like, I could beat this senior, and we were supposed to have wrestle-offs, right?
Yeah.
And, well, why didn't I get a chance to be the coaches? Wrestling is not a motherfucking team sport. Even if you're on a team, it is not a team sport.
Yeah, we're not wrestling.
That's
2v2s.
not why I joined. I joined because I didn't give a motherfucker if the team won. I got to control what I did.
Yeah.
I was responsible. And I was a good wrestler. So 119 I could handle. They kept trying to push me down to 112, man. And that was brutal. I mean, I looked awful. Like, my face sunken in. We didn't have weights back then. You know, we weren't lifting and being healthy and just, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We just looked bad. And I remember seeing that at Christmas time. And I know this happened at Christmas. My parents had a Christmas party where all the family came. My mom made some kind of alcohol drink, and it was in the freezer. And she allowed me to have some. Well, from there, I went to the neighbors and drank at the neighbors. And I don't know why they let me drink. And then I went with my cousin down to a friend of his house, you know. And all the adults are getting trashed, so they're not keeping track of us. Yeah. And my cousin, who was my age, She was getting trashed, but not with me. I don't know who she was with getting trashed, but I remember she got drunk too because she got sick and was puking like where I just remember walking down the street, coming back to my house, kind of wobbly, and hearing my dad yell from the porch. And I walked the straightest fucking line the rest of the way. And then I think I got home and they're like, whatever, pissed. And I think I passed out. And like I woke up later, a little later without any bad signs of anything. And I ate some Campbell's soup or something. They're like pissed I'm not sick. Seriously, they were mad I wasn't sick.
Did you get a lot of hangovers when you were younger?
I wouldn't say I got hangovers. What did happen to me, and very early, not that at that time necessarily, but later, in high school, drinking, I would black out.
Yeah.
So I've never been good at drinking, basically. My story is I always sucked. And when I talk about blackouts, I'm talking about not, I'm a little foggy and I don't remember this or that. No, I'm talking like what would happen is if you and I saw each other and you wouldn't know I was blacked out. I wouldn't know I was blacked out.
Yeah.
And the reason I would now is because this wall would come down in my head and there was nothing, man. Nothing. Now, what you're seeing is somebody who has no idea what the fuck is going on, is not conscious in any way, but is talking to you, can't say his words very well. Just what you're seeing is just a sloppy drunk, is basically it. I don't think there's a way to look at someone and know that they are in a blackout.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
So I had blackouts. And I remember another blackout when I was 16, 17. So 16, 17. About this time, my dad got me a Chevy Nova. Okay. And painted it this fucked up purple color, man. Purple. It was fucked up, man. Yeah.
It was
fucked up and had shit in the flex in the paint, but he painted it, and it had a 6-cylinder engine. The thing was not fast. I still drove it fast,
but
it was not fast.
Hey, 6 cylinders is quick enough,
Yeah, it was. And then not long after that is when he helped me. Well, I was kind of mad at him because he had a 1970 Chevy Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo.
Which was sweet as fuck, dude.
Yeah, it is.
And he redid that and painted it white. And I don't know why he got rid of it, but my cousin, Les, who I am going to use his name because he's okay with it. I'm sure he'll laugh. We've laughed about this many times. Les sucked at driving. He was horrible at driving. And of course, he totaled this car too. So and it had a 350 in it, man. It was automatic, it wasn't a stick shift, but it was still a quick car, man. It had balls, you know what I'm saying?
No, I know
it was a nice car, and he fucking totaled it. I think he totaled a couple.
Sober?
I don't know,
but he just
yeah.
It
was just. That reminds me of a good story with him too, but it's totally not an alcohol story. And I'll go off totally like Trump on the total side, so I'm not going to do that. Oh, I will. Okay, very quickly one time. So he had a girlfriend. His girlfriend had a girlfriend, and we went out on a double date. Okay. I'm in like 8th grade, and he's driving, so he must have been a junior. Okay.
So
he's a junior, and I'm in 8th grade.
Hell yeah.
And these girls were juniors.
Gotta start him young.
Right. And, man, he did not tell those girls how old I was. And so I was kind of with the one, and he was with the other. And I just remember later on that night, like the one I was with left. And I'm still, like, I'm outside the car for whatever reason. He's still in the car with his girl, like, dude, it's fucking cold. Like,
That's fucking cold.
finish the fuck up, you know? But yeah, that was good. He hooked me up.
That's what's up. Hell yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. But I drank periodically. I had a drinking friend. My freshman and sophomore year, Steve Barnes. Man, I'd love to see Steve. I don't know what happened to him. Like, he's one of the few people that after high school, like maybe a year after, all contact. And we were tight in high school because we both wrestled the same weight. And he fucked up his leg, broke his leg. He broke his leg in a wrestling match at a dual meet, and wrestled the next meet on the broken leg because he was scared to tell the coach that his leg was broke. That's how mean our high school wrestling coach was.
Yeah.
He was
crazy as
our high school wrestling coach was a badass. He was tough. He didn't want to tell him. He wrestled on a broken leg.
I gotta respect that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So the official beer of the Genoa High School wrestling team when I was in high school, we had the official beer.
That's crazy.
No, we did, man. It was Old Milwaukee.
Okay.
Old Milwaukee was our beer, and we drank a lot of it. I remember a whole bunch of kids got in trouble, and the coach thought that I was in on it too, and then he found out I wasn't with that group of kids. I'm like, fuck no, I ain't stupid enough to drink with them. I was over here drinking with these other people. I didn't tell him that part, though, but that's what we did. And pretty much anytime, so Steve and I had set up this little room in his basement.
Okay.
And his parents eventually found out about it because they were stupid as shit. But we'd go down there and just hang out and get drunk. We had a bed in there. We'd fall asleep. We just talk and do stupid shit and just get drunk.
Yeah.
And pretty much every time I drank, the whole purpose of drinking was to get drunk. It wasn't to, take an edge off or something like that. I didn't know anything else but drink and getting drunk.
Yeah.
And so it's not something I had to do every day. And that's what people think of alcoholics. They think of alcoholics as, they got to have that drink. They got the shakes. And that just isn't it. But I may not have been an alcoholic at that point, but I had an alcohol problem.
Yeah.
And we go through these stages, and I believe it is possible for people to have an alcohol problem and catch it in time, make changes, and not become an alcoholic. For most of us, that's not what happens. So I was in one of the most famous car chases in the country. Certainly in my area was one of the most famous car chases. And if you ask people where I grew up that are my age or older, there's two car chases they would remember. The first one would be mine, because mine happened before. And the second one would be O.J. Simpson.
Oh, wow. That did happen in Ohio, huh?
That didn't happen in Ohio. No, it happened in California. But I'm just saying, people with the two famous car chases,
you're
people
saying
would
just
know.
in general.
Just
Gotcha,
in general,
gotcha,
those are the car
gotcha,
chases
gotcha,
they would
gotcha,
know,
gotcha.
right? Me and OJ. And so here's what happened, okay? This is the end of my junior year.
Okay.
One of my close Mexican friends, because I always got in trouble with you motherfuckers.
Hey, we like to have fun.
You like to have fun. You like to drink, and you like to fight.
Hell yeah, we do. It's like the two most fun things there is to do.
That's what I told you, man. Why do you think I said, man, if I wasn't Italian, I'd be Mexican. And my friend Scott Castilla graduated. He was a year older than me. We both at my junior year, went to a vocational school. Mm-hmm. He was going to a vocational school, I believe, for either carpentry or cement. I don't remember which. And I was going for construction electricity, wire houses and shit.
Easier money.
I don't know. That's what I did. I was pretty good at it. Somehow I talked myself into like not doing what I should have done, which was accounting and be an attorney. And like, I'm not going to be able to go to college. I need to do this. Stupid on my part, because it just put me in a place where I wasn't before. You know, their influences. If you were in the trades in school, vocational, they're smoking weed and getting fucked up, because I didn't smoke weed until my junior year of high school.
Okay.
And that's when I started smoking weed too, besides in bongs and, you know,
Oh, yeah.
mixing the alcohol. Now I'm mixing the alcohol with other stuff. And, you know, weed was my other big thing. And for a long time. And so he's graduating. We both worked together too. So he would even ride with me to school. I would take him to school because I didn't say it. I said that famous car chase. I need to go. Well, this is about the
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure
this is about
yeah.
So I got a 1968 Firebird with a 400. It was painted 1980 Corvette yellow.
Ooh, yellow.
And it had big boss tires on the back.
Hell yeah.
Big, wide motherfuckers.
Badass
had a
tires,
Hirsch
huh?
shifter. It had yellow and black shag carpeting on the floor.
Okay.
It was the baddest ass car in school. And it was fast. And I never lost a race, ever. And so this is the car I had. Everybody knew I had this car.
Yeah.
My dad helped me get the car. Everybody in town. It's a small town.
Yeah.
You drive through town. Everybody
know.
sees this
People
car.
know.
Everybody knows.
Yeah.
It's his graduation. It's a Friday night. My parents had a camper that they would keep out by the lake.
Okay. By the lake?
Lake Erie. Lake Erie.
Did you
One of the
just
Great
leave it out
Lakes.
there?
Yeah. It was a campground. And we had a shitty boat. We did.
Hey,
we didn't
boat-
have
a
a great
boat's a
boat, but we had a
boat.
boat. And it ran, but it was not a great boat, but it was an okay boat. And we would go out on my dad's friends' boats and stuff too. But that was, you know, my parents, that was their entertainment for the summer and the year, was going out to the campground, you know, if not every weekend, most weekends in the summer.
Yeah.
And what are you doing at the campground? Drinking.
Hell yeah.
Right? And they're going out there. They know I'm going to Scott's graduation party. So I'm staying back. They're letting me stay home.
Great decision.
Yeah. And again, I'm 17. I just turned 17 in April.
Okay.
I go to Scott's graduation party. I get there. Some of my other Mexican friends who had been drinking for a while decided they were hungry. And so they asked the sober guy to take them to Big Boy.
Big boy.
Big Boy.
Okay.
So we went to Big Boy to get some burgers and fries and shit for them to eat. And while they're eating, I'm smoking bongs in the car, in the parking lot at Big Boy.
Hell yeah.
Then we go back to the party. We drink, we do it. And then people kind of split up a little bit. There are always people at Scott's party, but there were other parties going on.
Yeah.
So many of us left and went to some other
Yeah,
parties.
just migrating all over.
I remember doing that. And I remember seeing the girl that I was with at the time, and we were having some problems. And it just was, I went around, and then I came back to the party, and it's probably between 11 and 12 at this point.
Okay.
And I don't know why I thought I should be the one, but somebody who couldn't get home or couldn't drive home needed a ride back to Genoa. And we're about 4 miles outside of Genoa.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he needed to go home. I take him home. Stupid move. But I take him home. Like I'm the most sober one.
Did you know him or no?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I
okay.
knew.
Oh,
Fuck
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He was one that was in my car when we were at Big Boy.
Gotcha.
Fuck yeah. And the whole time we ongoing drinking and smoking.
Drinking. Yeah.
Right? On the way back, I'm driving on Main Street. Main Street in Genoa takes you out to the highway.
Gotcha.
And the highway will take me right to Scott's house, which is right on the highway, 4 miles outside of town.
Yeah.
The police chief was parked at a car wash before you get to the stoplight for Main Street and the highway.
Gotcha.
Okay. I didn't see him, obviously. But the story goes that they said that I did see them and that I don't know how you could see a can of beer or whatever, but I raised a can of beer. That didn't happen. But they said they did and whatever. And they knew it's me.
Yeah.
My dad was the street commissioner of Genoa. He worked for the street department. He worked for the village of Genoa.
Yeah. So they knew.
In the middle of town,
as soon as they saw the car.
behind the main street, behind them is the police station. You know what's behind the police station? The street department. So everybody knows everybody. And the police chief was also my Little League baseball coach.
That's hilarious.
When I was in Little League. Yeah. So yeah, he knows it's my car. He knows it's me.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever said I was speeding at that point. I don't know.
Yeah.
What I do know is they said that the light was red and I stopped and they pulled in behind me. Now I keep saying they because somebody else was in the car with the police chief. It was the mayor. So this is like the fucking Dukes of Hazzard, dude. Like seriously, like the Dukes of Hazzard, right? Because have you ever seen the Dukes of Hazzard?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got the mayor and the police chief, the sheriff. You got the police chief. To this day, I don't think anybody knew why they were in the car together at almost midnight.
Oh man.
So they pull in behind me. He didn't turn his lights on. This is the story that I know best. Mm-hmm. And I guess he said he got out of the car and was approaching my car, but the light turned green and I took off. Well, I didn't fucking know he was behind me. I didn't look. I didn't look. Oh, shit. There's Gary walking up on me. I didn't see that. So I took off.
Yeah.
And I'm going down the road. Well, not very far down the road, I do see lights behind me.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I floored it. I just hit it.
Just instinct.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the part of the story most people don't know.
Okay.
There was a time not long before this that, again, drinking with some of my favorite friends. And we had been out drinking, out in the country drinking, because that's what we did back then. That's what you drove around and drank in the country on country roads and did dumb shit.
It's actually pretty common in Arizona still.
I don't doubt it. And for whatever reason, we were at that same stoplight.
Okay.
And it's probably 2:00 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And we don't see anybody around.
Yeah. And
I opened the car door and pissed in the middle of the intersection.
Yeah.
Because there's no one
around. Yeah. Gotta go. You gotta go.
I had to go. Well, a cop went by us, saw us, was turning around. By the time he turned around, I was gone.
Oh, in your car?
In my car.
Okay.
And I was gone.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nobody chased me.
Ain't no one
nothing ever happened.
Ain't no one catch you that time.
And nothing ever happened. So my dumb ass, probably, I don't know. I'm thinking back in my head. I'm thinking, I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long this chase went on, but it went on for quite a while at very high speeds, over 100 miles an hour. I would get to railroad tracks and my dumb ass would turn my lights off to thinking they can't see me or something. And I'm literally
blind
jumping railroad tracks. And our railroad tracks are like this.
Yeah.
Okay. In Ohio. They're like,
you're making air. You're getting some air.
I got some air. And I know I got some air because I saw the damage to the car later. Right behind the wheels, you know?
Yeah.
The rear of the fenders.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crunched a little bit. And they said at some points it was like they were walking and I was running. They called the county. They called city police. There were state highway patrol. There was like
everyone. They called in the
there's
reinforcements.
because we got up from town into a bigger expressway, which is like probably 6-7 miles away from Genoa.
Okay.
So already we've gone that difference.
Yeah.
And then we get on what's called I-280, an interstate. And we're on there. And somewhere I get off and we're going down the road. There's a car in front of me that's pulling off to the side of the road in front of me because I got all these lights behind me chasing me, right? And I went around the car. Yeah. The police chief hit the car. And then I kept driving. And I didn't know he hit the car. I didn't find this out till later.
Yeah. You weren't worried about
I
who was that.
And they were in the hospital for a couple days.
Oh, wow.
The police chief and the mayor. That bad? Yeah. One was in the hospital for a day. One was for like 2 days. Jesus. Something like that. And so I just kept driving. And I don't know how it happened, but I kept driving. And at one point, I pulled up into a driveway of some neighborhood, and I hear, woo, 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 woo. And I don't hear anything anymore. There's nothing. So guess what I did?
You went back, didn't you?
I went back to the party. I drove back to the party.
So your friend got home?
Oh, yeah, he got home. Yeah, this was before. I dropped him off. This was after I dropped him off.
Oh, this was after you dropped him off?
After I dropped him off.
Okay.
Oh, he'd have been scared to fucking death.
This
dude.
entire time I thought he was sitting in the seat next to you.
Oh, fuck no, he would have been scared to death. No, I dropped him off, and I was leaving, going back to the party when they followed, when the cops got behind me and that happened. Yes.
Holy shit.
And so I went back to the party, and none of those motherfuckers would believe me that I had just been chased by the cop. And by now, the party's packed again.
Yeah.
And some motherfucker, I believe it was Doug Novotny. I'm just going to.
It always has to be a Doug, right?
I don't know. People like back then, a lot of families, I think even we had one for a while. We had scanners, police scanners in our homes. Yeah. You could hear what's going on. It would be on there. And look, they don't know where nobody knows where I'm at. Somebody reported that I was at the party because I got away, dude. All those people chasing me. This drunk, stoned motherfucker outdrove all those motherfuckers, and I got away. That is a true story. The other part of the true story is that all of a sudden cops showed up at the party. I'm in the house. They're asking for me, and nobody really says anything, and I kind of slide out the front door. And
you turn your car on.
And next to the door, or next to the, at that time, next to the house was like a landscaping type place.
Okay.
Where they had little trees and stone and all that. I went and hid in there.
Hell yeah.
Until I heard, freeze! And I had all these guns pointed at me. And I was hauled off and taken to juvenile county jail where they kept me in solitary for the weekend. And so like everybody wrote me tickets. Let me finish up this story quick. I know because it's long, but it is funny.
I like it, yeah.
And the story went AP. AP is the Associated Press. So when you used to get the big newspaper in your area years ago, you would have all these local stories in there. Yeah. And then they would have a little spot on the piece of paper that they needed to put another story. Yeah. That's where they stuck my story all around the country in their papers.
Do you still have a newspaper, one of those?
No, I had some other ones for some time. And I do have one that was funny. The police chief who did message me in the last couple of years. It was funny. Like, yeah. Because nobody liked him. Like nobody liked him, and he was a ex-Marine.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, Marines are always Marines. He's not an ex-Marine. He had been a Marine. Yeah. And he always had the Marine haircut his whole fucking life. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, and because when he retired, the weekly paper asked him what his three biggest cases were, biggest things. And one was a murder that happened 2 houses next to ours, or that's where they caught somebody that was associated with the murder. And then my case, and I don't remember what the third one was, but chasing me, I was in his top 3. And it's so funny because I was a juvenile. They couldn't use my name back then.
Yeah.
But some of the places reported it. The street commissioner's son. The fuck is that? Just use my name, the street commissioner's son. And it's not like everybody's going to know. Everybody knew what happened.
People knew before the papers came out. Yeah.
Oh, fuck yes, dude.
But you were saying
It's insane.
Oh no, that was
everybody wrote me tickets.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
The judge was mad that my parents weren't allowed to see me. And I had an attorney because I had an attorney from another case, and we just got that attorney again. Yeah. And so I ended up, out of all these tickets, I ended up getting fleeing and eluding, reckless op, and a speeding ticket, which all together totaled 12 points, which means I lost my license till I was 18, but I got permission to drive to school, to work, and to church.
That's a lot of freedom, if you ask me. Could be a lot of gaps in between there.
Because they couldn't prove that I was drunk, even though I was tested later.
The next day or whatever.
No, they couldn't prove it because I had 100 witnesses that could say that I drank again when I got back to the party, so they had no idea what I drank when I was. And like, do you really want to say that this drunk kid outdrove all you motherfuckers? Nah,
yeah, we'll
not
leave that
exactly.
Part out. We'll leave that part out.
Yeah, yeah. So we got it whittled down a little bit, and I got sober on my own after that.
Was that after when you were?
Well, look, I got sober a couple times before I got sober.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I stopped drinking. I did get involved in the church and then changed churches and different. And this was all on my own. This wasn't my parents. This was just me, just searching, for answers. That's when I first time I read the Bible, like the whole Bible.
It's a good book.
During that time, I did that. But during that time, like I said, I had been smoking weed and stuff at that point, but I stopped drinking.
Okay.
And it lasted a while. Year, 2 years, whatever it was. It lasted a little while. Mm-hmm. Somewhere, so 17 to 18, but somewhere when I was 19 or so, I think I remember smoking weed with someone first before ever drinking again.
Gotcha.
And then I started drinking again. So it would have been, my best friend went off to college away from home. Not way far, but far enough that we couldn't see each other, every weekend. Like 2.5, 3 hours away.
Yeah.
And he was, I don't know any way other to push it. He was a goody two-shoes in school. Like, he never drank at school. He never did any of the, I was the dumb shit kid that did that, but we were close, family super close. Their parents were like second parents to me and everything. But I don't know what he did his freshman year in college. But he did something. Because he hadn't been doing nothing, right? So he did something, and so they're like, "Yeah, you got to come home." And then we started hooking up after that, and when we started a DJ business and other things and stuff like that, we did that in high school too. Okay. Yeah, we DJ'd. We had a good DJ business. I should have blew that fucking thing up. I'd still have it today, making $1 million.
Shit,
we were
start
good.
That shit over right
we,
now.
we were good, dude. We had a whole thing, and we did it when it was hard.
Yeah,
hard.
Yeah, actually,
it's super
change and line and
dude.
everything.
We did it on cassettes, so you had to have two people. We would have two people. One would be on the recorder. On a Walkman, listening because the song was in the middle of side B.
Yeah.
So you have to set it so that it could be on. Yeah. And when cassette singles came out, we thought that was the greatest shit since sliced bread.
Hell yeah.
And then discs. We would have 4 disc players on top of each other. All we got to do is punch a number. That's all we got to do. But, dude, we would carry in. Like, we had to buy all this.
Hell yeah.
Boxes
and boxes.
Yeah, I still got them.
Do you really?
I still have all those CDs.
I would love to see your collection. I got
a pretty big collection, dude. Music. Yeah.
But anyways.
But we did that, and we started, I started drinking again. And
Oh, quick question before we move on.
go ahead.
So between that, you said that time that you sobered up, did you ever get like an itch to drink again or anything?
I don't know.
Like that,
See, I didn't go to like an AA or anything like that at that time. At that time, I just stopped doing it on my own. And, I sought God, really.
Yeah.
And God was always there in my life. I could always feel his presence. And I always felt like he was directing me, except that sometimes I didn't want to go in the direction he was directing me.
Yeah.
And I rebelled against that. And because at that time I'm thinking, how's come my friend Scott can drink and get sloshed? He don't get in trouble. How's come I'm the motherfucker that gets in trouble? We both are drinking together, but I'm the one that gets in trouble. Why am I the one getting in trouble? And I just didn't understand that. And I didn't think it was fair.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand shit about life at that point. I'm just a cocky 18-year-old, 19-year-old at that point. And so I started drinking again. And then I got, this was my second job, my third job. But I worked in a factory when I was in high school, second shift. I worked second shift. I worked from 3:30 to midnight when I was in high school. Yeah, that's what that was about, man. That's where I learned my hustle. And that's where I learned that I didn't want to do that kind of shit for a fucking living either. And so I got into a retail store called Value City and was in their men's department and suit department. An opportunity came up at another store for me to get into their suit department. I did. It was further away. Eventually, it was only two of us, but that department manager moved up and became assistant store manager. I became the department manager, youngest of anyone in the chain, and there was about 60 stores back then around Michigan, Ohio, a bunch of different, couple different states. And then I got moved up to be an assistant store manager and got in their program for that. And an opportunity came up where, they wanted me to go up to Lansing, Michigan, which was, 3.5 hours, something like that away from Toledo. And I took that opportunity. And so this is like 2 years after graduation. This is like, late 87, 89 kind of thing. And so I did that. And I was drinking at the time. And this was early on in me getting up there. The department manager for the women's department was actually a dude. Was actually a man. And he wasn't a gay dude either. He was just a man. Yeah. And a very good guy, super good guy, who also was a recovering alcoholic and had been sober for quite a long time. And he shared that with me, something he wanted me to know about him, early on. And so one night in Michigan, I wasn't with anyone else, and at least at the time that it happened. I had a new Mazda 323, the little Mazda.
Hell yeah.
But it was new for me. It was a brand new car, Huh?
Silver?
No, it was black.
Okay.
I think.
Nice.
It was nice for a young kid to have a brand new car, 1980, that was pretty cool.
Cars is kind of nice.
And I was driving down a highway, drunk, and two other guys, one was driving, they were drunk, and we hit each other head on. They came across my side of the road and we hit head on. But all of us were drunk. And I just knew shortly after that, it was just a fucking mess. And I went to him and said, I knew that I had a problem. I knew I had a problem. Because I knew from being younger I had a problem. I mean, I didn't tell this story, but I will quick. One of the times we were at the campground with my parents, I got drunk with a whole group of beach kids, I had a girlfriend that lived back there at the time too. And I just remember waking up the next morning with shit in my pants. Oh, yeah. I had blacked out and shit myself. I had one high top shoe. I was losing my other shoe. And And then I lost my class ring, which I did a class ring that was old school style, like my dad's from back in the 50s and shit. And I lost that. And I think I lost my girlfriend that day too. You wake up at her home and her parents' place and you're sitting on the couch with shit in your pants. It's not good.
Yeah.
But I remember getting back to the campground, walking back to the campground, and my dad is pissed at me. And I'm like, I'm not good, but like, why are you pissed at me? Well, he tried to come get me the previous night. And we got into it. And I have, to this zero recollection. Zero. None. Again, total blackout. I have, after a certain point, there's nothing I know. But I was still doing things.
Yeah, you just blink.
Talking to people, walking, doing things. And that's where this is so dangerous. I was dangerous. I'm grateful that I never hurt someone else. Because that did happen in our town, where somebody did black out and did get on I-280 driving the wrong way and killed a family. And I was on the radio at the time, and I interviewed the guy's dad on the radio. First one to talk to him. One of the hardest interviews I've ever done in my life.
Whoa! Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah. Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say, I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life.